What's up, guys? We are back with another Bandai Tamashii Nations SH Figuarts review, and we're taking a look at the second of the event-exclusive Dragon Ball Z releases for 2023 that's debuting at San Diego Comic-Con this year. For those of you that are going, there's going to be some info down below on how you can get a hold of this set. This is not just a Raditz figure, though. This is Raditz and little baby Gohan from that initial story arc, so it's a way for them to sort of give us a new way to get Raditz, and then also for folks who missed him at P Bandai the first time, this is your chance to get him now. So we've got him here in our event-exclusive style packaging, of course, which means it's that black relief artwork, which I really like. You've got Raditz there in the window, Gohan slightly peeking out. We've got an orange and black color scheme for this packaging with artwork on the front. You've got a product shot on one spine, artwork on the other spine, and then the back of the box showcases how these guys move and a bunch of the accessories they come with, as well as some shots of Gohan. So let's do it. Let's pull them out and take a look. And here we go, out of the package, our SH Figuarts event-exclusive Raditz. Again, this guy was a P Bandai exclusive, so if you missed him that first time around, he maybe hasn't been the easiest to get a hold of. This is another way to get him. He does have a palette swap going on with his colors. And then, of course, if you do have that first one, it's maybe a way to double dip, because you can get that little baby Gohan, which we'll talk about later. Now, as far as Raditz himself goes, he's the same figure as before. Colors have been changed, but if you've messed with that one, you know exactly what he's capable of. We're going to run through articulation for the uninformed, of course. He is fairly standard for Saiyan armor figures, but he does have some business to discuss. So his head can look up a decent bit. His head actually wants to look up because of all the weight back there, but he can look down really nicely too. You've got tilt side to side, you've got rotation. The hair is able to get up and out of the way, so you can look all the way around. So I'm really happy with that. That range is kept nicely intact. You've got a hinge and swivel at the hairs. It's a separate piece, so you've got two pieces to deal with back there. Arms go up and out at the shoulders. They, of course, can rotate around. The shoulder pads will, of course, move up and out of the way. The higher you move them, the wonkier they look, which is fairly standard. You've got a bicep or a butterfly joint there and a bicep swivel. We've got our double jointed elbows. He's got hinges and rotation at the wrist. The hinge on his wrists are limited because of how fat they are. He's got really, really thick wrists that fit very snugly into that socket. There's not a lot of range there. Torso is a diaphragm cut, so he goes backwards a decent bit, forwards a good bit too. I would urge caution when doing this. You could potentially scrape the paint down here. Just go slow. And then this is also going to be your main swivel point. He doesn't really have like a full-on waist twist, but you can twist at the upper part of the crotch hip area to get a little bit more shimmy down there, if that makes any sense. Pop your armor up down here. Legs go out at the sides a decent bit. He's got big legs. They do kick forward. You've got to watch your armor, though. You don't want to get it to pop off. They are separate pieces, so they can pop off and they can be put right back on. You've got your thigh twist up here. We've got double jointed knees. Pretty decent range. They're not full on, but they're pretty decent for such thick legs. And then down at the ankles, he does have pretty decent rocker, which for Saiyan armor figures, rocker isn't always the best. And then you've got a little bit of hinge, and you've got your toe articulation. So pretty solid down there. If anything, the only real concern I've ever had with Raditz is, like I said, the balance thing. You do have to pay more attention to him because he has so much hair, which is fairly normal. I mean, the same thing goes for like Super Saiyan 3 Goku. It's a balancing game. He has a lot of weight hanging off the back of his head, so it wants to pull him down. But he also feels very rigid to me, too, in a way that he doesn't really have a lot of those problems. You are just going to have to take slightly more care when you're posing him, especially if you want to get him in any kind of dynamic poses. And he does, of course, have a back adapter that will accommodate a stand that can help you to keep him a little bit more upright. Because, let's be honest, that is a big chunk of hair. It was always going to get in the way somewhat, but it's not as big of a deal as you might expect. And he's fairly easy to pose around. You just do have to watch the balancing game. Now, as far as the overall look and feel, this is a figure that I'm already familiar with and I already like. So this isn't necessarily an instance of me thinking, is the new figure better than the old figure? Because the old figure really isn't all that old. It's not as old as the other event exclusives that we are getting this year. This is still a relatively, I don't know, current-ish kind of figure. He was P Bandai exclusive, so current isn't the right word, but he's not super old. He is just different. He's different in color palette is really all it comes down to, and some small details. So we're going to bring that old one in, so we'll move him aside a little bit. And there's our first Raditz right there. And the differences are small, but they're obvious. So the browns are different. We've got like a chocolatey brown versus a more nutty brown here. The banding is different color. You know, we've got a reddish color. We've got a silver color over here. The skin tones are different. Our new figure is lighter, and he does have more shading on the musculature. If there's one thing that I think I prefer on the new figure, you know, prefer outright, is the fact that there is some more shading on this one. The scouter color is different. The lens on the scouter color is different. The hair is the same. But then you've also got, you know, as is common with event exclusive figures, we do get some updated faces, and the faces they're a little bit more detailed. I prefer the look on the faces a little bit more, and the skin tone that we've got across this figure in general, I think works a little bit better to kind of sell some of the idea here. So I really like this new figure. Again, I mean, he's a beefy figure. It's a really solid Saiyan armored figure to begin with, and I've been a big fan of those ever since we started getting into that realm, more recently anyway, you know, when we got the Ginyu Force and everything started ramping up with all of that kind of armored figures. Raditz is among those. I think he looks really good. He's sized really nicely, but the sculpt, the paint, it's all relatively similar to this first one, but changed up just enough that looks kind of cool in its own way, but then might make you want to, you know, grab a second one. But if you don't have this first one, this is easily the way to go without feeling like you're getting something so different that you have to get both. Now, as far as accessories goes, Raditz was a pretty solidly stocked figure to begin with. The only thing he really never came with was an effect part, but he has pretty much all the other stuff you might want out of a Raditz figure, and that continues with this one. So to start with, we do get 3 extra faces. You get the sort of stoic expression on him in the box. All the faces are scouter faces. One of them is him looking off to the left with a smirk. There is one where he is screaming, yelling, and then there is the one where Gohan is lunging at him and like he's super shocked about what is about to happen, which of course plays up really nicely with this particular set. We do get some extra hands, but he never came with a lot. You don't get a lot here either. So you get a set of fists. We get a set of splayed finger hands. You know, you could use them as a charging style pose. You also get the more closed grip, but slightly grappling, charging style hands as well. So you get 4 hands, you get a total of 6. We get the crossed arm piece as well. You know, this is something that I tend to overuse in my display just because I really like the idea, and they continue it here. So we get another one of these, and of course, you know, you pop the arms off and put that back on, and then you can swap them out. He also gets a swappable tail, and this is a movable tail. It's got a ball peg in there, so you can swivel it and hinge it up and down. So you've got the regular tail that comes on him in the box is more like, you know, what they do where they wrap it around him belt style. So you got that one. And then you get the tail out so you can move it and have it be a little bit more dynamic if you'd like. And he also gets this piece here, which is a swappable piece of back armor. So you pop the back off of the back, and then you put this on, and it has a port for a Tamashii base arm. So if you want to do something crazy with him and you need more stability because of the hair, you can utilize a stand to hoist him up. I tend to not need it, but it is helpful at times, depending on what you're doing. And then, of course, we get this as our final piece. So we get the aforementioned Gohan as he is lunging at Raditz. So this is, you know, the whole point of the bonus aspect of this particular set is that you do get this little slightly static Gohan. And I say slightly because he does have some movement. The head does move a little bit. You've got swivel up and down. The hair moves also back here, his little ponytail, and his tail can move also. So you do have some posability with him. He's not, you know, like really a dynamic piece. He's a very static thing. We've seen stuff like this in the line before, you know, think like the Chaozu that goes on Nappa's back, that particular one. But this one does look really good, and I'm happy to have something like this. This is something that, again, I don't know that I need as a full-on figure, but I like the ability to have this because it makes him be a little bit more in scale too, right? A lot of the Gohan figures in some cases are too big. This one is definitely on the small side. The paint looks really good. The sculpt is nice. The expression looks really good. You also get a swappable head with him too, which is him, you know, kind of losing his cool right before he does this. And then, of course, you know, you can do it while he's actually blasting his uncle there if need be. So you've got 2 different expressions, you know, eyes closed, eyes open. You've got like tears on the face and everything. So it really does sell the idea of this one. And of course, it does also come with this stand too. And you can utilize this with Raditz if you want to do it with that back piece. but it's definitely more meant for Gohan because you have to have a stand to get him to actually do much of anything. So this pack is really solid. I'm very happy with the accessories that happen to be in this box. Got all the same stuff that we're used to seeing with Raditz in general. Improved paint on those faces in many ways. I like the crossed arm effect. I like the body part swap out pieces, and then of course you do get a really solid little Gohan to kind of beef up this set, and in many ways, you know, maybe make you want to buy a second one, or get maybe something a little more complete if you never got the first one. So yeah, overall, I think this is a pretty solid release, even if you already have the first one, because of course this serves dual purposes. This guy's going to get you an option to buy Raditz if you've never gotten him before, and if you do have him, you can get one that is specifically meant to maybe set that scene with Gohan and use that little pack-in buddy and have your regular Raditz, you know, fighting Goku, fighting Piccolo, whatever you want to do. This is a solid figure, though, in general. He moves well. You do have to watch that hair. Of course, it's always going to pose a problem, no pun intended. But he looks really good. Paint is clean. I like the shading on him. I like the faces. I like the scouter. And then I really like all the accessories he comes with here. You get some really solid faces. And of course, that Gohan is just a cool little pack-in bonus to be able to beef up this release. So that's going to do it for this look at the SH Figuarts event-exclusive Dragon Ball Z Raditz. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And until next time.